Thank you for tuning in today. Parent University is excited to bring you virtual learning strategies for families during school closures. Due to the unique challenges that can come with distance learning, the goal of today's workshop is for families to leave prepared to set the stage for distance learning at home, both emotionally and physically for their students. At a time when many things may seem out of our control, it's so good to always focus on those things today, like our home environment. This workshop is not going to be a Canvas workshop or a first day of school procedure training. That information will be coming soon from the district by Friday afternoon. Teachers are currently being trained in Canvas and learning the best way to utilize this new system to enhance learning. I would like to introduce you to today's presenters, translators, and the Parent University team. Our presenters are Dr. Bober, 5th grade teacher with Long Beach Unified, Ms. Brown, social emotional learning teacher on special assignment, also with Long Beach, and Ms. Gallo, 1st grade teacher, Long Beach Unified. We also have translators, Ms. Rubalcaba, Mr. Keogh, and Ms. Huerta. The Parent University team is Ms. Faz, Ms. Huerta, Mr. Keogh, and myself, Mrs. Hodge. Again, we know that many of you have questions regarding the first days of school. The district will be sending out a district-wide message by Friday afternoon to inform families and students about the first days of school. For today, we will only be able to address questions regarding the content of this workshop. If you have any questions for our presenters, please use the chat feature and we will get as many of those answered as we can. So for now, I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Bober. It's all yours.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay, get these over here and present. There we go. Okay, well, welcome everybody. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and here we are. A long day for everybody. I know for you, absolutely. I'm sure you're exhausted. I'm completely exhausted, but excited. I'm excited for school to start. I mean, you have no idea. I am so excited about school. Even though there's so many unknowns, we are, just going to keep moving forward. So with all of the exhaustion, we are here, and we're here for one reason. We're here because we care, right? I mean, you wouldn't be here if there was for any other reason. You're here because you care, and you care because this is about your child. And, for anyone, you are the person who cares the most. And then secondly, it's the teacher. The teacher also cares about your child and the success of your child. So, with you and with us, the teachers here today, we're hoping that we can help you feel less anxious, feel less exhausted, feel a little bit more prepared for what we have in front of us. We can't change a pandemic right now. This is what we were given, and it's not the most ideal environment, but it is what we have. And so we are going to offer you some strategies that hopefully will help you deal and get through this together. And hopefully these routines will help your family. So here we go. Just a little bit about me. I am Debbie Bober, and I have been teaching for about 26 years now. I am a product of Long Beach Unified School District, raised here. I went up through Long Beach City College, Cal State Long Beach, onto UCLA, and here I am. I've been teaching in Long Beach my entire career. If I get into tears, it's because I care so much. Everything I am because of Long Beach. I really am, and I really feel like I want to give back, and so that's why I'm here with you today. I was, you can see on the screen, voted Teacher of the Year, and it was this big moment for me, and then the pandemic hit, and then I'm a first-year teacher. So I'm just sharing that with you because I'm learning this with you. We're all in this together, and so let's move forward. So that's me, and then here's our next presenter.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrea Gallo, and I too am a product of Long Beach schools, just like Debbie. And I went to Cal State Long Beach, and then I moved on to getting my master's at Concordia. but I've lived here all my life, and I am raising my family here just like you. So I love to be a part of this community, and I'm glad you are here today. I also teach some science at Cal State Long Beach in the summertime, and I am a master teacher. That just means I have student teachers in my classroom every year. And I was nominated as Fremont Outstanding Teacher last year at my school. So I look forward to just giving you some strategies today. So we can move on to our next presenter, Shayla.
Good afternoon. My name is Shayla, and I am a teacher on special assignment. My job primarily is to support families and teachers with social and emotional learning at Lafayette Elementary School. So I'm excited to be here and share some tips for families because we need them.
Okay, so you can see that we all care. We're all teachers. We're all in this with you. And we're parents. The three of us are mothers. We have children in Long Beach Unified also. So I'm really happy that I have this group of presenters with me here today to share some things that are working for us as parents, to share some things that work for us as teachers, and to help you out. So here's some pictures of my class from last year. I teach at Cubberley. I teach 5th grade. And I'm just looking at these, it means so much to have had these experiences, because now these are just memories right now, and I want this back. I want this back just as much as any of you want this back. So we're going to try to create that as much as we can virtually. We are going to try to create a warm environment for our kids, a place for them to feel comfortable, to feel safe, and to feel welcome. And this is what my classroom looks like. If you look at it from my view, this is what I have. And so it's hard. It's not an easy place to be for any of us. But we're learning. I mean, we are working every day. All last week I was in training. All this week we're in training. We are working tirelessly to make this a good experience. So Shayla, a little bit about the kids now. Unmute, Shayla.
Yeah, I got it. So you already realize that this school closure has been a traumatic experience for everyone. And in the face of stress, our bodies have a physical response, and it's even more difficult to learn, right, when we're in the midst of a stressful situation. And our jobs now are going to be to try to support children to refocus on learning after this long period of isolation. And we're hopeful that the strategies that we're going to share with you today will support if your child is feeling depressed and are missing the social interaction with their peers. So I talked a little bit about this on the other slide. When we are in a stressful situation, you guys might remember that there's this fight or flight, right? When we're stressed, our heart starts beating faster. We just feel uncomfortable and we tense up. When you are in that mode, you can't learn. You can't learn. So what we're going to be talking about today to support is human relationships. The answer to trauma is human relationships. That's the most important factor that can support resilience. We'll be talking a lot about resilience throughout the day. And so when a child feels supported with a loving relationship that's supportive, that child has a more calm brain. That child releases oxytocin, which is a chemical that promotes a sense of calm. So we're going to be talking now, what are we going to do? Okay, we've had this whole period of time where the students were disconnected, right? They just probably staying up late. They're just out of sorts. So the first step is here at the top, and that first step is to connect. We have to connect. On the first day of school, September 1st, your teachers are going to be ready to reconnect with their students. As Debbie said, we miss them, and we are just chomping at the bit to get back to that interaction, right? But also we're going to, on the classroom right on the device, we're going to be giving students opportunities to connect with their friends, because that sense of isolation is real. So you're going to be seeing a lot of connection. We're going to connect with you as the parents, your teacher, and your students. They're connecting together. We'll be looking for students to participate and how you can help with that, making sure they're in class, supporting with assignments, and participating with their own interests, right? Everything's not about school. So as students are thinking about, what do I really like? Is it robots? Is it dinosaurs? Is it space? Supporting students to think about what they like and explore those things. That's one way that we can support a sense of calm. Okay, and the last part, which is also very important, is this idea of growth. We have to help students, and teachers will be working on this quite a lot in class, and we can use your help as well to believe in themselves, work hard, and have hope. This situation is stressful for everyone, but it won't help anyone if we just say, oh, bad, this is bad, this is bad. We are hopeful. We are hopeful, and we want you to support that sense of hope with your child. We talked a little bit before, relationship. These bubbles on this screen are all the things that you can do with your son or daughter to support a loving and supportive relationship. If you're stuck in the house, what can you do? You can draw. You can play with Legos. You can build a fort in the living room. You can laugh. You can run around, play chase or tag in the house. You can talk to your students, or you can even cook together. All of these opportunities will support your child with calming their brains. Okay, so all of these are really good ideas for what you can do to support students and build their resilience. And resilience just means for you to go ahead and bounce back from a trauma.
Thank you, Shayla. I needed to hear that too. I was stressed. I was anxious about today. So I needed to hear you say, just calm down and just take it one step at a time. Today's meeting with you all comes out of a post that I actually put out on Facebook, which had this list of 6 strategies. My friend Allison Akeo, who's Teacher of the Year from 2020, she and I put this together because we both are on Facebook, chatting on Facebook and looking at the thousands and thousands of posts out there, and everybody's in the same thing. We're all scared, we're all anxious, we're all frustrated, we're angry, and everybody's voicing it together on social media. And I needed something positive for myself. And so Allison and I got together and we've said, what are the most important strategies that parents need, like right now for first day of school? So if they do these 6 things, to get ready for the first day of school, their kid will be the most prepared for virtual learning. And so that's what we came up with. And you will have this downloadable resource at the end. Below the YouTube video, you will have a link for the slide presentation and also for this resource, okay? So we're gonna go through these 6 strategies right now. The first one that we came up with is, really important is just to have a space for the kid to work. Andrea's gonna share a couple pictures to show you what that could look like, what's possible. But, really important just to have the Chromebook. Make sure you have a Chromebook or a computer, and if you don't, contact your school right away. Contact someone, get a hold of a device, and then a charging cable. It needs to be charged, so it needs to be fully charged at night. Just plug it in or have access to a way to charge it throughout the day. So that's most important. And then Andrea's going to go ahead and talk about the quiet place for them and what that could look like.
Yeah. So, Shayla, I just wanted to piggyback on what you said about reconnecting. I'm so excited to get back as a teacher and reconnect with my students. And I know they can't wait. Your children cannot wait to get back to connect with friends. And so if you look at this picture, this is how they're going to be connecting, in the beginning of the year. And this is what it can look like at your home. If you're like me and you have multiple children, I know space can be a challenge, but they're using their dining room table and I like it. It's clean It's free of clutter. They have the necessary tools. They each have a Chromebook or a laptop, and they are ready to go. So a nice, neat space is ideal. Here we have privacy screens, and they do sell privacy screens in the store, but if you have cardboard, they're really easy to make. And this just helps your child to keep focused on their task at hand and to keep away from the distractions, in your home. I know I have a dog, I have 3 kids and my husband, so all of us are home working. And so to be able to have a little bit of privacy for your child, you can just use some cardboard and it'll help them stay focused and organized. So again, we have a dining room table full of children, or if you just have one child, you could have their own little desk, as long as it's a quiet area and it's comfortable for them with minimal distractions. So that is one of our goals, is to have minimal distractions for our kiddos, during their day, because there's a lot going on, a lot of information coming at them. So if you can create a little bit of space for them during their day, just for them, that would be helpful in their learning. And if you have a headset that they could use with a microphone, this would also help with minimizing distractions and the background noises. And it allows the teacher in the class to hear your child in what they're saying. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these frames of the kids. You can see how they're sitting greatly affects how they can learn. Some of them are just sitting back. Some of them might be playing. One kid has headphones on, and some of them have their screens off, their cameras turned off. So depending on your teacher, you really want to see what their expectations are with the camera, because most of the time, I know for me, I'm going to want their cameras on, but then they might say turn them off if they're doing some book work. It just depends on the teacher. So having a nice seat will help them to keep focused. And here, the first picture, the chair is too big and it doesn't allow this poor little boy to sit up properly. And on the second photo, you can see that they've put a stool there, and it supports his position to sit up a little bit better because he's a little guy. So let's think about, your children and their posture while they're sitting at a Chromebook. And then here, so the computer not at eye level means the child's neck is flexed the entire time. And I know I've been working all day, literally this morning since 8 o'clock. I've been in meetings all day and my neck is tired because I totally understand what these kiddos are going through. So being in meetings all day, for me as an adult, it's been hard on my neck. So when I think of my own children and I think of your children, you really want to think about having that eye level really meet the computer screen at a good level. And a way to do that, the second photo, you can see that some books have been propped underneath the Chromebook to lift it up a little bit, and his chair looks good. His feet can touch the ground. He's in a neutral position. So when you're setting up your child, you might want to just take a look at those things so there's not too much stress on their bodies. And then here, not good, no support, the chair is too big, he's slouching down. So we know that's not a good chair. That looks like a chair I might like, but let's go to the middle one, getting there. So they've propped his feet up with a little Tupperware, and he has a pillow, so he's getting there. And then the last photo, it says, we made it, yay. His feet are supported, he has pillows, and he has enough back support, and his head is in neutral position. So that's a great way to support your child, just with things around the house.
I don't know where the next slide went, so let's, I don't know why it's all the way over here. Let me just look and see what's happening here. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yay. All right. So I work with the little guys. I teach first grade, and even as an adult, I found myself in my long meetings today, I had to take my own breaks. So if your kid likes to lay on his belly, go for it. He's still learning, he's still engaged, and that gives his body a little break. And then if he likes to kneel, that's a great way to engage the core to keep it strong. So he's just on his knees and he propped up his Chromebook on the couch. So he's just using things around his house, just as I'm going to be doing. But you really want to make sure that they're moving their bodies and but they're comfortable, but that they're still engaged in their learning.
Okay, let's hope the rest of the slides are in order here. Okay, so that was number one. That was a long one. That was just about the physical space. Okay, so let's talk about the emotional, mental, all of the rest besides the physical space. Strategy number two was just focusing on encouragement. So as a classroom teacher, this is a big thing for me that I just do throughout the day. I mean, it's just always coming out of my mouth because that's part of my job, is to be like, all right, good, you're getting there. Here's the next step. And just constant encouragement in the classroom. And that's something that your kid might not have, you know, especially if they're home alone. I know that I have my 13-year-old son and I have my 10-year-old daughter, and there's going to be times where they're working completely on their own. You know, I'm teaching and they're on their own. So find time in your schedule, find time and a place to give them that encouragement, because they might not have it as much as what they're used to having throughout the day. We're going to go on to Shayla, who's going to tell you a little bit more about this. You need to unmute, Shayla.
You and I both know that this is hard. This is hard. It's hard to learn at home. It's hard to be separated from your teacher and your friends. It's hard to not be able to go to the park. And we can't pretend like it's not hard, right? But what we can do is acknowledge that this is challenging work and that we can do hard things, right? So yeah, this is hard, but you can do hard things. And these are the ways that I can support you when you're feeling like you just can't go forward. If your child is feeling stressed out and doesn't want to go to school today, or loses it around 10 a.m. after 2 hours of online learning, these all are strategies that you can teach your child to help them cope with a stressful situation. Now, I won't read them all to you, but you can look at these images and tell it could be something as simple as finding a comfy spot and reading a book. That might give your child the reset that she needs to feel better. Perhaps a breathing exercise. Your teachers are going to be working and teaching your children specific kinds of breathing that are calming breaths. Or if your children are feeling sleepy, we're going to be teaching them some energetic breaths. So breathing exercises are another one. The last one I'll mention, which is super important in the first 2 weeks of school for sure, every teacher is going to be talking about, is labeling the feelings. Part of social and emotional learning, the first step really is for students to understand their emotions. So when you're feeling bored, when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling hungry, when you're feeling sad, right, we are going to be developing the language around those feelings and how they show up in your body, right? So the ability to name those feelings will go a long way to support you knowing what to do, right, to help cope with those feelings. These other ones are all good ideas too.
Let me unmute myself. All right. I don't know why a couple of the slides are like skipping, but we're going to roll with it. All right. Because that's what we do. We just keep rolling. So the next strategy, and I'm going to go a little bit faster because I just noticed the time. I was having so much fun. We're talking about rewards. Okay. In the classroom, there's a lot of this. There's a lot of extrinsic awards and stickers and motivation and, you know, keeping track of their goals and goal setting. And at home, you know, maybe that's not something that you would typically do. So having a simple chart like this, a little sticker chart, can help your kid feel motivated. And you can just put like reading, writing, math, or you can put whatever their goals are, finishing your work or getting your assignments turned in, and then put a little star there and just keep them motivated to do their work, to complete their work, to turn in their work. And, you know, hopefully they get to the point where they can do this on their own. You know, obviously at the beginning, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for everybody, but the teacher understands that it's hard. So giving a little motivation can help. I also gave you a list. You don't have to read them all right now, but you can download the slides at the end. Just some different ways to give rewards that don't require a cost. Okay, so like a reward could be a board game playing together, or some, you know, cooking dinner together, or having a little extra snack at the end of their hard work for the day. Or what they want to wear. You know, there's no school uniform right now. So, you know, that could be a real big reward for them, is, you know, letting them choose their outfit for the day. So just keep that in mind. Okay, and then the third strategy we had was having the schedule up. As soon as you get the schedule, and I know we're all in the same boat, like I want that schedule so badly for my child, but as soon as you get your hands on that schedule, get it and hang it up or write it somewhere so that everyone can see in the family. One way you can do is I gave you a little example of just a simple schedule. If you have a whiteboard, you could write the schedule for the day, or even better yet, for the older kids, have them write their assignments for the day with like a little checkbox, and then they can just check them off as they go. The district came out with a schedule back in the spring when we first went to, you know, home learning. And so you can print that out as an example. I gave you a little blank template that you can use as an example, and having that schedule will really ground your child and ground your family and help you feel a little more comfortable through all of this. And then last, Shayla, you are up.
So along with the idea of a schedule, number 4 is completely connected to schedule, and that has to do with a healthy lifestyle. You're going to find, and if you haven't already, that kids really thrive in an environment where they know what to expect. And so my kids, just to be honest, they don't really even have a bedtime right now. But this whole week, I'm like enforcing, okay, school's getting ready to start. It's time to go to bed. I'm going to wake you up, even though you don't have to be awake now. I want to get them accustomed to that routine. So in your home, one idea that really will support wellness and resilience with your child is to stick to a routine. If possible, there's no hard and fast rule, but when it's possible, try to have your meals at the same time. We already know school starts at the same time every day, so that will be a part of a routine for kids. But maybe part of their routine is that at 3 o'clock, they get to, I don't know, play with the Legos. Or at 4:15, they know it's going to be mommy and me time and you're going to play a card game. As much as possible, you want to have some play time every day. And as much as possible, you want to maintain a bedtime and a wake up time that is the same every day. That will get their bodies used to this new experience of having to learn from home. If they're just waking up at 7:55 and turning on the computer and they're still sleepy and they're in the bed with their pajamas and they're just logging on, that doesn't set their mind up for learning. So you want to enforce a wake up time that gives them enough of a chance to brush their teeth, comb their hair, get dressed, have some breakfast, and really be ready to focus.
Ms. Brown, we do have some questions, so I wanted to put some of those out there to all the presenters. I was reminded to turn on my video. I apologize. So we had a question. I'm concerned about my first grader being able to pay attention and learn during video calls. How will you keep students, especially the younger ones, engaged and motivated?
The teachers are, thank you for your question. Teachers already, right, have a wide range of tricks up their sleeve to get kids or to keep children motivated and engaged in learning. So some of the same routines that we practiced in the classroom will transfer to this digital learning. But we are, as Debbie mentioned earlier, we're in training all week long, and we are learning additional strategies. So first thing I'll say is that the teachers already know that this is going to be tricky, so they already have some strategies in place. Like, for example, they're going to be taking movement breaks. They're going to be teaching breathing exercises. The teachers are going to play songs and do dances. Those are just some examples of how we're going to keep them engaged. The other piece, which is really important, I've seen on Facebook, many parents were concerned that the child was going to be online and just sitting right in front of the computer for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. That's not what we're going to do. So your teacher is going to break up their instructional day, and they'll have some time on the computer and some time off of the computer. So hopefully we can take a deep breath with regard to them not sitting in front of the computer the entire school day.
And can I add, Shayla, it's okay if the kid can't sit still. I mean, that's normal. We deal with that every day, and it's normal. It's okay, especially at the beginning of the school year where we're just learning how to be in an online environment. So don't worry about that. We will take care of it. That's our job.
Thank you. And one more question, if I could, before you continue. My child is more aware of her Blackness now more than ever. As teachers being trained, are teachers being trained to be more culturally aware, and is the curriculum going to reflect the need? Do you have any thoughts around that?
Say yes. We all are feeling the nation, right? So we don't exist outside of human life right now. So each teacher is facing her own truths about what's happening in the world right now. And so as a part of our training this week with the social and emotional learning, we will be talking about equity and justice. So I don't want you to think that every problem will be solved and we're going to be fully equipped to deal with, race relations on the first day of school, because that's not real life. But we are going to be having ongoing conversations, and we will be dealing with that in classes.
Thank you. There's a few more questions, but we'll have you continue and I'll come back to those. Thank you.
All right. So back to the students. After their day of learning, you want to talk to your child, see how their day went, and let's try to talk to them in a positive way about the work that they completed. Maybe they didn't complete something. Maybe they needed help. And they might be, honestly, in first grade, I've experienced a lot of children who are afraid to ask for help from the teacher because they're just shy. And it's something I've had to draw out of them for years. And so if you can just talk to your children and just to see how their day went, and you can check, I guess if there's something positive about online learning is that you can check their progress online. And if you need to communicate with the teacher, you can just shoot them an email and maybe they'll call you or just email you back. So talking about school, I have a daughter that is a senior in high school this year. And I always, when she was younger, I would always ask her, so how was school? And then sure enough, I would get that one response, fine. And that was it. Until I learned, oh, I need to ask her in a different way about school. So here are some other questions you can ask. What was the best thing or what was the worst thing that happened today? And tell me one new thing you learned. Or what was something fun you did today? Or something different? Did you disagree? Because we talk about disagreeing, but we talk about disagreeing respectfully with somebody, and it's okay because you won't always agree with somebody. Was there something you didn't like? And what can we do better tomorrow? So those are just some different ways you can talk about school and, and engage in a conversation with your child.
Okay, so Debbie mentioned this one a moment ago, which is the idea of taking breaks. We are not expecting your child to sit still and stare at the camera for hours at a time. In fact, I would be willing to bet that none of us are going to teach a lesson that's greater than 45 minutes. But if your child needs breaks, the teachers are going to be understanding about that. And so there are going to be some periods of time between classes, right? So like there's a block of time and then a break. Make sure that your kid is up at those breaks if you're home with them, and that they can get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, maybe step outside for a few minutes. Those are things that will really support their ability to refocus once the class starts again. When you download these slides, I think you're going to get the link in a moment. You can click on this page for lots of ideas about how to get outside. I cannot stress enough that play is the #1 way that children learn, especially if you have young children. So I would encourage you to go outside. There's something about being in nature, right, that kind of just supports our immune system, if you can believe it. So the more you can get outside, the better. And those, you can click there for some ideas about what kinds of activities you can do. We've kind of gone over our time a little bit. I want to give enough time for questions. On the page, you can get tons of other ideas and resources. These are going to be available also on the district website under parents.
Thank you so much. We just do have a couple of other questions to the presenters. Could you briefly explain why parents don't need Canvas training today?
Well, we are getting Canvas training, so that's a good thing. I'm actually a Canvas trainer, so I got trained all last week. I also did a lot of YouTube training. I mean, there is so much out there. So I strongly suggest you go on YouTube, believe it or not, and you can find resources for parents on just to get a little background.
Thank you. And then we also have, this is to me, a tech question. I don't know if we have the answer to this. We have a question. Can students use an iPad Air, I guess, instead of a Chromebook or PC? Do any of you know?
I have an iPad. What do I have? An iPad Pro, or I got a grant and got an iPad Pro, and I've been using it. So I think, I mean, personally, I think that you can. You would just have to take that first week to troubleshoot. If the computer's not working, the school does have Chromebooks and, Wi-Fi hotspots for you. So troubleshoot, use that first week to troubleshoot and see if it's working.
And I did have someone just whisper in my ear that they would need a keyboard because they will be typing and interacting with the screen. So that would be needed as well. Thank you. Then we had a question that I can address. Has anyone addressed why Long Beach is on lockdown? Our infection numbers are not and never were high enough to ever had our schools closed. And just so that everyone knows that our district works under the guidelines of the State Health Department, LA County Department of Health, and our city also has their own health department. So it's in collaboration with and under guidance from them. I think, is that it? So I think all the other questions are being answered within our chat feature. So at this time, I would like to again, thank you for tuning in to watch today. I'd also like to thank our translators that have been simultaneously translating in Khmer and Spanish, Mr. Keogh and Ms. Rubalcaba. Ms. Huerta, who has been manning the chat feature in Spanish, and Ms. Fast in English. And also to those that are behind the scenes making all this happen, the Office of Marketing and Media Services. We also want the families to know that by early next week, this presentation will be available in Khmer and Spanish. They will be translated and on the YouTube page with Long Beach Unified School District. In addition, Parent University is going to be rolling out a series of workshops as we did last year, and we want to hear from families what it is they feel that they could use support in. So look for a school messenger to be coming out soon with a virtual suggestion box. In the meantime, please stay safe. Thank you.